Hello, I'm John Ross. From a 400-pound lion to the smallest arachnid, predator species vary dramatically. Yet nature has instilled in them all a need to hunt and eat other animals for survival. And each is driven by a common force that overrides all others in their lives, the instinct to kill.
Unfortunately, this killing instinct and the brutality of the hunt have caused predators to be grossly misunderstood and unjustly persecuted. Throughout human history, most cultures viewed them as nothing more than cruel and evil vermin to be exterminated. But today, we're finally able to see nature's hunters in a different light. Now we realize that a healthy ecosystem requires a healthy balance of predators, and understanding them is essential to understanding nature itself.
Join me for a face-to-face look into the world of the predator.
Evolution has adapted every predator species with its own unique characteristics and its own specific niche. This is northwestern Montana, one of few remaining places where the North American lynx still exists. 200 years ago, the lynx inhabited 21 states, but it was severely overtrapped and pushed out by man until now only a few hundred remain in the lower 48 United States. The lynx has evolved to feed almost exclusively on a single species, the snowshoe hare. To even the odds, nature has made the lynx and hare so evenly matched that the hare escapes more than 50% of the time. This time, the lynx is successful, but it will take protection from us if it's to survive as a species in the lower 48 United States. Nature has evolved predators to hunt in all levels of the ecosystem. Raptors, like this goshawk, are the hunters of the skies. This time, the rabbit escapes. But a raptor's vision is incredibly sharp. With a capacity for seeing near ultraviolet light, the goshawk sees a richer, more detailed view of the world than we do, readily distinguishing prey from the background. Now, time is of the essence. The raptor is vulnerable on the ground, so it keeps its wings open, shielding the prey from the view of other predators. And it bolts its food down quickly, storing most of it in its crop to be passed to the stomach when the bird is on a safe perch. In the tropical forests of Thailand, predatory reptiles hunt the forest floor. I startle a 5-foot cobra basking in the late afternoon sun. Although folklore suggests otherwise, the cobra only attacks a human if it feels threatened. The snake moves away from my intrusion. The snake preys only on animals small enough to swallow whole: birds, amphibians, lizards, and other snakes. And the cobra is especially known as a controller of rodents. The cobra locates prey by tasting the air. Its forked tongue picks up scent molecules and brings them back into a highly developed olfactory organ in the roof of its mouth. Once prey is located, the cobra relies on stealth to bring it within striking distance. In desperation, the rat delivers a bite of its own, but the cobra injects more venom. Within seconds, the victim is paralyzed. The snake stretches and aligns its jaws in preparation for swallowing. As the sun sets, the cobra aligns itself in front of the head of its prey and begins the swallowing process. Other reptiles have evolved to hunt the lakes and marshes. With ancestors dating back over 200 million years, the North American alligator is the closest thing on the continent to a living dinosaur. This longevity is due to the animal's evolution into a highly successful predator. Ever an opportunist, the alligator feeds on fish, birds, and small mammals that happen by, but killing only when hungry, conserving energy. They are killing and eating machines, capable of growing to over 18 feet long and weighing over 1,000 pounds, with massive jaws that can exert 3,000 pounds of crushing power per square inch. Small prey is swallowed whole, but larger kills are torn apart by biting onto a piece of flesh and spinning. This huge animal has a very vulnerable beginning. Alligator eggs are a favorite food of other predators. This nest was carefully hidden on a marshy mound, surrounded by water, but still fell prey to a raccoon. But robbing an alligator's nest is a very dangerous undertaking. And as the raccoon heads back to the safety of dry land, suddenly it becomes the hunted. Morning comes to Khao Yai National Park in Thailand. Here, along with reptiles, other animals have adapted to hunt the floor of the tropical forest. One is the earth tiger tarantula. A mouse forages through the litter on the forest floor. Sensing movement and tasting food ahead, the predator presses forward. The tarantula has surprisingly well-developed eyesight for a spider. 8 eyes are mounted atop its head. The larger compound eyes detect movement, while the smaller simple eyes are sensitive to light changes. Still, the creature sees only a black and white picture of shapes and movement within a range of a few inches. The tarantula uses its fangs and serrated chelicerae to grasp and hold the prey in place while it injects venom. Minutes later, the mouse is dead, and the predator begins feeding. A spider has no mouth for chewing. Instead, it breaks down its food externally by secreting digestive enzymes through its fangs into the prey that dissolve the tissues. Then this liquefied food is sucked back up into the spider's digestive system. Pound for pound, the Asian purple centipede is one of the most ferocious predators on the planet, equipped with hypodermic-tipped poison claws, which seize prey and inject venom. 15 feet above, a white-rumped munia is perched in the lower canopy. The bird often descends to the forest floor to forage for grubs and insects. Telltale vibrations of prey reach the antenna of the centipede, and the hunt is on. Immediately, the potent venom begins to affect the bird's nervous system. In a matter of seconds, paralysis sets in. 1 minute later, as the bird is near death, the centipede begins feeding. Through its poison claws, it injects secretions containing enzymes that start to break down the tissue of the prey. But unlike a spider, the centipede has mouth parts that tear off pieces of flesh and toothed jaws that chew. Then the food is passed to a well-developed gizzard that grinds it to bits. The system is so effective that the centipede eats the bird completely, bones and all, leaving only a few feathers behind. But even the most fearless hunter has its Achilles heel. For the centipede, it's moisture. Unlike insects, it cannot close off its breathing holes. So the fearsome centipede can dry out and die if it simply stays out too long in the open. The earth tiger makes its way across the forest floor, and the centipede senses an intruder. The spider displays its fangs defiantly. But the centipede is not intimidated. The tarantula retreats, but not fast enough. The spider escapes the initial attack, but has lost a leg to the centipede. Now, locked in a battle for survival, each struggles to inject venom into the other. But even this large earth tiger is no match for the centipede. In the aftermath, the tarantula is dead, but the centipede shows no ill effects. It begins to feed on the spider. Using its large hypodermic claws to open the tarantula's tough exoskeleton, the centipede exposes the soft tissue underneath. Every predator has evolved certain attributes that make it uniquely effective. The falcon relies on its speed. This prairie falcon soars high above and dives on prey, not on the ground, but in the air. The falcon's first attack is unsuccessful. But a second try proves deadly for the pigeon. A defining feature of the falcon is the beak, with a notch used for severing the spinal cord of prey. The sharp beak also allows the raptor to tear apart kills quickly, limiting vulnerable time on the ground. Nature is designed so that nothing goes to waste. When the feeding is over, very little remains, and other creatures, like these carnivorous wasps, are adapted to utilize any leftovers. In the forests of Myanmar, the long-nosed tree snake relies not on speed, but on stealth. Its horizontal pupils are aligned with grooves along the head and thought to enhance the aiming of the strike. All the commotion attracts the attention of a larger rat snake, and in an instant, the predator becomes the prey. Rat snakes have evolved with a compelling instinct to feed on anything within reach. Cannibalism occurs within the species, and amazingly, there have even been cases reported where rat snakes have died while trying to eat their own bodies, tail first. Another of Asia's superbly adapted predators, the rock python, uses highly developed sensory organs to locate prey, including heat-sensitive pits on its face that detect the presence of warm-blooded animals. The snake reacts to a quail foraging in the litter on the forest floor. The python kills larger animals by constricting. But here, its sharp teeth and strong jaws are all that's needed to instantly kill the small bird. In swallowing, the python hooks its teeth on one of its jaws into the bird and moves the opposite jaw forward. Copious amounts of saliva lubricate the prey. The saliva contains a strong enzyme which immediately begins the digestion process. And after days or weeks, depending on the size of the prey and the ambient temperature, digestion of even bones and feathers is complete. The larger, more highly developed prey animals have evolved keen senses and running speed to escape danger. Only the most highly developed predators are effective in catching them. The African lioness is one of nature's most fearsome hunters, possessing a lethal combination of stealth, power, and speed. Still, the prey escapes in 60% of the lion's pursuits. In this rarely seen daytime kill in Botswana's Okavango Delta, the lioness had to remain hidden for 9 hours throughout the day before the prey ventured close enough for the kill. The cat drags the dead antelope into the reeds, so she'll be hidden as she feeds on it. Even the ferocious lioness is unable to fight off a large pack of hyenas or a male lion that would steal her prize. Some predators have adapted to use features of their environment to their advantage. In the dense tropical forests of Southeast Asia, many snake species live their lives entirely in the trees, and most of them are green, so they can blend into their surroundings, keeping them safely hidden from other predators and undetected by wary prey. By silently creeping through the branches, the well-camouflaged red-tailed racer is able to stalk even some of the most cautious small birds. This snake does not possess any venom to immobilize prey. It kills by constricting and suffocating. In moments, the bird is dead. Over the next 15 minutes, the red-tailed racer swallows its prey whole. In the night of the Sonoran Desert, another snake uses its surroundings in the hunt in a different way. The desert glossy snake burrows into the sand to keep out of sight as it stalks a kangaroo mouse. While some predators can use their surroundings as part of their hunting strategy, others are adapted to overcome challenges their environment presents. The coyote has sharp eyes and a keen nose, but when snow covers the ground, it must rely on its acute hearing to find the rodents it preys on. Its oversized ears detect the faint sounds of a rodent scurrying beneath the snow, and it homes in on the prey. It taps the snow with a paw, causing the rodent to scurry again, allowing the predator to pinpoint its location. Using its sensitive hearing, combined with a specialized hunting technique, the coyote is one of nature's most effective hunters of rodents, even in the dead of winter. But hunting rodents requires an animal to be constantly expending precious energy. Hunting larger prey has the advantage of sustaining the hunter longer, allowing for more rest between hunts. But there is a disadvantage. This young wolf barely escapes the deadly antlers of a large bull elk. In keeping with nature's balance, larger prey animals have evolved weapons and the instinct to protect themselves from immediate danger. And at times, that instinct can even protect them from dangers they might face in the future. A lioness and her mate look on as a herd of Cape buffalo move into a riverbed where their 3 cubs are hidden. Suddenly, a giant horn hooks one tiny cub and sends it flying. In a kind of natural retribution, even though this small cub is harmless to the huge animal, it bears the scent of the ferocious predators all too familiar to the buffalo, triggering an unstoppable killing instinct in the herd. Amazingly, the cub still clings to life and delivers a stinging bite to the nose of a bull. The beast responds with a final killing blow. Then, in one of nature's mysteries of animal behavior, tugging, licking, and smelling, the completely vegetarian buffalo explore every inch of the dead cub. Through it all, the mother lioness has watched helplessly. This fisher, a member of the weasel family, has crossed paths with the North American lynx. All predators are armed with weapons that can kill, and sometimes they use them for reasons other than to provide food or self-defense. Most will instinctively attack any other species that is a direct competitor. The fisher escapes, but is forced to find a new area to hunt. This is California's Mojave Desert at night, the time when most animals are active. Here, I find a species that kills its own kind to eliminate competition. The desert hairy scorpion will tolerate others of its kind only briefly when mating. At other times, it fights to the death, in this way eliminating competition for scarce desert resources. Stabbing with their venomous stingers, the scorpions are locked in a violent struggle of life and death. Fatally envenomated, the smaller of the two is left to die. In some species, elimination of competition is applied even to the animal's own young in the form of infanticide. In the tropical forests of Thailand, an Asian forest scorpion is giving birth. Its young, called nymphs, are born soft, white, and helpless, and cling to their mother's back. The mother catches a cricket. Using her second, smaller pair of pincers, she then tears the insect apart and sucks out the nutritious juices. She will also give some to the nymphs. They depend on her to feed them until their first molt. Afterwards, she carefully cleans herself. Then she returns to her den to continue giving birth, a process which can take 2 or 3 days. On her underside, just in front of her fin-like pectine feelers, her birth canal swells in readiness. Inside her abdomen, another nymph is ready to emerge. The birth takes 10 to 15 minutes. And 15 minutes later, another baby is born. But this time, when the newborn doesn't quickly climb onto its mother's back, she takes it into her pincers and begins to devour it. It's common for scorpions to eat a percentage of their offspring. In this case, it would appear that this baby was less fit than the others. This infanticide is a way for the species to weed out the weaker individuals at birth, lessening the burden on the mother, and leaving the strongest to survive and carry on the species. A day later, almost 30 have survived. While young scorpions inherit most behaviors they'll need in life, in more advanced predators, there's much to learn and develop as the young mature. The endangered African wild dog is one of nature's best hunters, with an 85% success rate. To kill large prey, the pack chases it for long distances, exhausting the animal until cooperatively they can bring it down. These 6-month-old pups stay behind. They won't be ready to participate in the hunt until they're almost a full year old. First, they must learn both the hunting and social skills of the pack. Although the pack's adults were unsuccessful at bringing down the large water buck, they did find a young impala calf. After consuming most of the calf, its head is brought back to the pups. Rather than a serious fight for food, the pups engage in a friendly bout of tug-of-war. This activity helps prepare them for future hunts, when, as adults, together they will tear an animal apart that is too large for any one dog to handle. And play activities such as this have a role in determining ranks in the pack that will last into adulthood. Play is an important part of the development of most advanced predators, and often it carries over into the adults. A sora bird is inattentive for a split second, but instead of killing the bird outright and eating it, the fully mature coyote plays with it. This is a game all coyotes play as pups. Often adults bring live prey back to the pups to play with and eventually kill, an activity that helps develop hunting skills and coordination. The ecological advantage of continuing it in adults is uncertain. Perhaps it helps keep the coordination and reflexes sharp. After nearly half an hour, the hunter finally tires of the game. Africa is the land of the predator. When the sun sets, the bush comes alive with the hunters of the night. A pride of 16 lions is setting out on their nightly hunt. The hunters detect the smell of prey in the air. Some impala in the underbrush are now on the alert. But the lions have the advantage of superior night vision. And now, they've spotted a young impala and its mother. This is the Jekyll and Hyde nature of the pride. Only minutes ago, members might have affectionately nuzzled one another. Now in the feeding frenzy, the same lions fight violently for their share, sometimes inflicting deep wounds in each other. If the kill is small, like this one, there's not enough to go around. Only the strongest get their fill. One younger pride member even tries to take food from his mother's mouth. She immediately puts him in his place. And then with the food gone, as quickly as the pride's ferocious infighting started, it ends. Once again, young and old are affectionate, grooming and cleaning one another, just as if the furious competition for food never occurred. In sharp contrast to the lion, the North American fisher is a solitary hunter. It doesn't have to share its kills. But hunting alone, it's limited to relatively smaller prey. So evolution has armed the fisher with senses keen enough to locate rodents, like this meadow vole, that are experts at hiding. Suddenly, the vole breaks from the safety of its hiding spot. Small prey is entirely consumed. Hair and larger bones will pass through the digestive system with the excrement. In the distance, tiny sounds betray the reason why the vole ran from her hiding place. She was instinctively trying to lead the predator away from her babies. But it isn't long before the fisher finds the origin of the sounds. Successful predators have necessarily evolved an opportunistic instinct. They eat as much as they can when food is available. Those that don't will starve in the coming times when food is scarce.